Just a second. And you're good to go.
Thank you. We do have a Forestation Board quorum, and we can start with approval of minutes of previous meetings. I had on the January meeting and the February 22 meeting and March 7, but I don't think the minutes have been out yet for the March 7 meeting. Is that right, Linda?
No, they were included with the packet that went out yesterday. March 7th was done. I was able to get the video from Ron and complete the minutes and send them with the others.
Okay, great. So can we have a vote maybe to approve all those minutes? Sylvia, you don't want to make a motion?
Oh, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. I'll second it and we'll all vote. Linda? Yes, I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there was a typo in February that I had an extra word that has since been removed. There was an "it" after a discussion in the minutes, but I will send the corrected copy to John so he has it for the city records.
Very good. Okay, the next item on the agenda is mayor's update. We're happy to see the mayor here.
Hi, Lee. Hi, everybody. Thanks. I guess the windstorm has reminded us how important our trees are and how important the work of this committee is. So, but with that reminder and with all the trees we lost, which I feel like we lost more than we thought we lost, because I've stopped by a friend's house the other day and there's a tree down in their yard, and they're just all over the city. People are dealing with that. So it's part of nature and part of the deal, but just it underscores how important the work that this group is doing. And I'm very appreciative. Everybody in Prospect is very appreciative.
Yes, we lost a lot of trees and we're constantly getting updates. Just as I was signing in for this meeting, I got an email from City Desk saying that someone had reported concern about a tree at 7224 Fox Harbor Road. And I've not looked at that. But that would be something maybe we're Andrew to do, or I can meet you there.
Yeah, well, I can probably, is it in, do you know if it's in what part of the yard it's in, or?
I don't know. They said it seemed to be kind of leaning over the road and the roots seemed pulled out.
What, 7224 Fox Harbor?
Yeah, Fox Harbor Road, right.
Okay, well, I'm going to be meeting with a contractor tomorrow about the canopy trees. So I could look at it then, or?
Take a look at that. Yes, please. And if you want me to come down, I probably could.
Okay.
We're actually at your point for consultants update. If you want to go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to mention, now that the meeting started, that I am meeting tomorrow at 1:30 with Perez and Cortez. They're the planners for the canopy trees, and we're going to look at the locations. I think they all should have their marking flags in. I think Lee is going to verify that, but we understand that maybe one resident still, we're trying to find out. But we're going to look at the marking flags for the canopy trees if they look in a good location with regard to the utilities that have been, or if they look in a good location, then I'm going to put a second flag in, as we discussed, approving the location. And then we will, Perez and Cortez will contact Bud to get the utilities marked. And that would also include the oak tree for Nancy Davis, the memorial tree that is going to go in along the right side of the entrance of Fox Harbor Road. And there's a marking flag there. So
And Herb already said that marking flag for the Davis tree would fit in well with the proposed sidewalk location.
Yes. Yeah. So that's good. The only other thing I had today was that I did send you all kind of very late yesterday, pictures of 3 Bradford pears located in the landings on Timberwood Drive between the sidewalk and the street. We've three addresses, where the trees have declined to the point, I think we should notify it's my understanding it's the homeowners' trees. And I think we should probably notify them, that they have a hazard tree or a tree that's in serious decline, unstructurally sound, and is a hazard. And, so I sent those addresses last night. They're 5603 Timber Ridge Drive, 6905 Timber Bluff Court. That tree's located on the Timber Ridge Drive side. And then there's one at 50, there's one in question that we need to do some research on. The location of the tree is 5605. It's either 5605 or 5607 Timber Ridge Drive. It's a multi-trunk Bradford pear on the left side of the driveway. It appears to me it's at 5605, but it's right on the property line between the two addresses, between the sidewalk and the street. I don't know, could we ask Ron to pull up the logic map just to see if we could see on that, Lee? Or,
Yes, we can all pull up the logic
yeah,
map.
I mean, we
but,
could, I haven't had a chance to pull up the logic map, but I just didn't know if any of you want to view the tree, and if so, see what these trees, and then maybe the next meeting you could decide whether you want to send them a letter.
Okay, at least one of us ought to probably look at those
Right,
trees.
sure,
Uh,
yep. Now,
If they're not really imminent hazard, or they can wait a month, then we can vote again.
well, you
next-
never
next
know.
meeting.
All those, I would say all of those trees are pretty precarious that are they were, as we've discussed several times, they're all declining and in different stages of decline. So we never know when one might fall apart, or even with or without a storm. Fortunately, it doesn't look like they lost a lot of them during the bad storm we had, the bad windstorm a couple weeks ago. So that's good. But
So,
they still are a concern. But that's all I had.
Okay, I had, right on what you just discussed, I don't know if everyone read Paul Capiello's article on the Sunday Courier Journal, Why Did So Many Trees Fall? Okay. And he begins by talking about the Bradford pears as a continual problem.
Right.
He doesn't spend a lot of time on that, but then he goes on many other things. And he said he drove quite a bit around Metro, and in his opinion, the main cause for fallen trees is the ones that have problems are largely the ones located between sidewalks and streets. And
That's correct.
Simply, they don't have enough root volume potential. They're blocked by cement or asphalt, whatever, you know? And so,
That's correct.
and we have a lot of those around some of the subdivisions right here in Prospect. And I think those were almost all planted by developers at one point or another.
Right. That was a pretty popular thing to do, and still
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And we might consider maybe amending the ordinance again to discourage that kind of planting. Because not only do they maybe not grow very well, but we've had issues where the trees have been moving up the sidewalks. The other thing that he mentions in that article, Andrea, is he's strongly recommending, that any arborist that someone hires for guidance is certified by the International Society of Arboriculture.
Right.
And I know you are. And that's a very good thing. And actually, when we wrote into the ordinance, if someone wants to dispute a finding by the
Yes.
Forestation Board, that they employ a similarly qualified by that society arborist. So I think that's a good thing.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I want to go back to the canopy trees, in general. Yesterday, Herb had problem, finding the one located 8611 Westover Road. And by the way, that's way out on Westover or close to Covered Bridge, either way you want to look at it. I went out there, just about an hour ago, and there is a flag, a red flag, one of our flags planted, but you can hardly see it. It is on the left side of the house as viewed from the street, and it's way down in the yard, which slopes sharply away from the street. And for me to see it, without getting out of the car, I pulled into the driveway they have there, and it's a turnaround kind of gyro. It's easy to use, and sitting in the car, looking way down, that's where it is. You know, so
So it's
Well-
actually in the backyard, would you say, Lee?
yeah, it's definitely in the rear of the yard. Yes, way down there. But it is visible there, and it's planted. It looks like a perfectly fine place. That property has a large yard.
Okay. Well, thanks
But
for.
that's where it is.
Would
Now,
that create a premium on the planting expense because
I'll
of
have to find out tomorrow. He
I don't
originally,
think there's a big problem on the access, but
yeah,
right,
I don't know. I don't know if it'll change it or not.
yeah.
Well,
The-
I won't bring it up and we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
But originally, he said if you only had an order for one tree, he would have to increase the planting price. But you have 6 trees, more than one tree now that were ordered. He quoted the same prices he did last year, probably the previous year, which was 115. Now the question is, we'll have to find out too if Ron has. These people are getting tree guards, right? Trunk guards? Is that
Yes,
correct?
Mhm.
So we'll have to find out if Ron has enough new tree guards,
tree guards, right, yeah.
but
Right
we're
now,
not ready
we're
to
probably
plant.
looking at about 7 tree guards, not counting the 6 that the green space is gonna put in.
Yeah, well, that's true. How many is Greenscapes putting in altogether again?
Well, there's 6 in their plan, That's,
6, and then we have 6 canopy trees, including the Paul Davis Memorial Tree, right?
well, that
Maybe
would be-
7,
that
maybe
would be
7.
7 in Little Hunting Creek Park. Plus, we're probably looking at 5 canopy trees. We have the 4 orders, and we're still expecting another order if we can find a tree for that person.
Right. Hopefully I'll know that in the next by
Yeah,
tomorrow. I'm hoping.
I'll send him a note too if he's not off
Okay.
the line. Okay, I wanted to say one more thing about the canopy tree locations. There's another one on Westover at 8207. I think Herb looked at that yesterday and I was hoping he would be on the line. Herb, are you there yet? No. I drove by that today and I couldn't see a flag. Like what I could see was actually several small flags. It looked like somebody had contacted Bud, and we saw the little Bud flags.
That's what address was that? 8207?
8207. I personally couldn't see it out, and Herb, I think, reported he found it yesterday. But since he's not on the line, we'll have to call him later. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Anything more on canopy trees or hazardous trees that we know about?
Not that I know of, other than I'm gonna, tomorrow, as long as all the flags are in, I'll have them call Bud. And then, we'll be ready for whenever the trees have been dug at the nursery, which I don't know when that'll be yet.
Okay.
Everything was way ahead and now we've had this cold snap, so things are slowing down a little, so it'll probably still be, towards the end of the month, I would guess, but
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is an easy one. That was a Tree City recertification. the official Arbor Day certification was received a couple weeks ago. Is now City Hall. So congratulations to everybody and to the mayors and council who have supported this Tree City program for many years, since about 2008. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and
That's a good
in their letter, they said there's something like 3,600 tree cities in the United States, and they cover about 155 million people. So our 5,000 counts right in there, you know? That's it. Yeah, that's good. We had the canopy tree program down on the list, but we already talked about that. And the next item was the gunpowder court issues, and Andrea and I looked at the property there, and I sent a note out to everybody on the board saying to please look at logic to see where you thought the problem trees might lie relative to property lines. And myself looking again at logic just last night, and if you believe the property line as portrayed on logic, they're pine trees. Those are largely on the property of the woman that originally contacted us, and not on this Fox Harbor Corporation sliver of land. It looks like it, if you drew a line, it'd be 3/4 of the tree would be on the property of the person that contacted us. But I encourage everybody else to take a look. If that's a correct finding, then we'd have to tell her that if she's concerned about those trees, she'd have to take them out or have them taken out herself.
Lee, I couldn't get the logic map. I didn't get the logic map. It wasn't attached, at least in my copy.
Oh, I didn't send anything out, just a note. I didn't send the logic picture. You'd have to look it up of the address exactly.
All right. I thought
And
you said attached one.
that was in my note, but it was easily viewed last night and before, actually, also. There's also this strange piece of land that is, quote, owned by Fox Harbor Corporation, and which that corporation may not exist, although John Carter found a mailing address, which was a post office box for that. But he, as I understood, he couldn't find any record of the corporation as state files. I don't know if John's online right now, but
That's correct. No, you're right. That's exactly what I found.
but if the trees are truly not on that property, it may be, at least at the moment, an irrelevant issue so far as the Forestation Board is concerned. As a side, I talked to a resident yesterday at the little breakfast club meeting we have, whose wife is in the real estate business and who is himself an attorney, has been on Forestation Board before. And he said there's a few other parcels scattered around the city with that ownership. And he said the original justification, at least by the developer, and this was in the early 70s, was that those slivers of land would provide access to common areas. And truly behind that property on Gunpowder Court, there's a big parcel that's owned by the city and it's shown us on logic. The next item we have, if there's nothing else to discuss about Gunpowder Court, and I would like on that to have other board members look at that logic portrayal and confirm back that that's what they think, that the trees belong to the resident, and we will proceed from that. I don't think that's going to be a big issue. We just have to tell them one way or the other. And when Andrew and I were there, we said we would monitor those trees and some trees that are on the city-owned property as they happen to green out, to see if any actually presented a hazard at this time or in this year.
Right.
Okay, the next item is the LG&E grant program, which is a possibility we've discussed, but we've never really pursued it. Linda Wardell has identified a person on the Parks Committee who would be willing to work on it. Linda Knox has done some research on it. Ron has suggested that possibly we could include proposal some city-owned sites, such as in the entrance to the landings, which might be considered. But I'm looking for comment and for some initiative by one of the board members to take this thing and work with Parks on it and with Ron on it, or maybe decide that it's not worth pursuing or we don't have a sufficient proposal. I'm looking for comment.
The only comment I would have, are you hearing an echo from me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's due to. I had to rejoin the group. That's why you see my name twice. I apologize.
Can
But-
can you mute the microphone on one of the two?
I tried that, but it wasn't, I don't think it was gonna do it. Let me see. That is irritating. Can't find, I should be able to mute it and it's not letting me. Well, anyway, I think we should wait till later in the spring.
It's your volume, not your mic.
It is. My volume. Later in the spring to see how trees survive the drought. I'm trying to get it, John. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Exit out of one.
Is that any better?
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, I was thinking we should wait till the end, closer to the, late spring to identify. And we may see tree decline from the drought last year, and that may make us aware of some additional trees as far as replanting. That was the only comment I had.
Okay, well, that's a good comment.
Okay. That could give us grounds for a project, so great.
Linda Wardell, you want to add anything to those comments?
No, I think that sounds good. I think, Tina is willing and able to work on the proposal, but we just need to know what we're asking for. So I think
Right.
identifying the number of trees and the location is what would be needed before she can really pursue
Sure.
writing the proposal. But thank you.
Okay. We get down to the agenda item other, and I'm pointing out to the board members that in April, we're supposed to submit an annual tree plan. And it's maybe a summary of what we did in the current year, actually the calendar year 2022. Because Arbor Day works on a calendar basis, and proposals for initiatives or continuing programs in this calendar year. So I'm going to send a note out, but I'm looking for the board members to suggest or modify last year's plan or come up with new initiatives if we see fit. Same thing for Andrea or anyone else. Any comment on that?
No, I think the starting point is to review the current plan in place and then move forward with any changes or confirmation of accomplishments.
Okay. The last item on the agenda is setting the date for the next meeting, and well, I had proposed April 11, which is the second Tuesday, which is usually the day of the month we try to meet. Found out that a couple of members have conflicts for that day, so we need another day in April, hopefully in early April. And Andrea,
gonna run into
you're often the determiner of dates because you have a lot of other obligations, so maybe you could comment.
You're going to run into spring break if you go the week before.
Okay.
Are there dates that are convenient for Andrea after the 11th that week?
Well, John's saying we're gonna run into, if we go earlier, we're in spring break. So maybe later in that week is what you're saying. Linda.
Yeah.
Andy, any comment on that? Maybe she's not on. I'm not sure she's on, but I'll get her on the phone.
Can you hear me?
No,
Hello?
we can, Andrea.
Oh,
Before
okay.
we-
April 12th? How about April 12th at 2 o'clock, or is that date out too for you all?
It's good for me.
Yeah, it would work for me. How about Sylvia? Can't hear you, Sylvia.
I have mediation the whole day, but you can go ahead without me. I'll catch up when I can.
Okay, well, we would need Herb or Connie, maybe one of them available. We need to quorum of 3 to have a forestation board meeting. But
2 o'clock on the 12th.
say that again?
2 o'clock on the 12th.
Yeah, let's plan on that. And I'll find out if Herb and Connie or either one of those can make that meeting.
Mhm.
And I'm also thinking to have the meeting in person at the library, if that's acceptable for everybody. Any comment on that?
It's going to be kind of hard for me to go back to in-person meetings all the time. I probably could do that one, but I have some other obligations, I have some other Zooms that I have to do sort of one before yours that would be difficult to, do that
Right.
on a regular basis. If, I don't know how, is the whole board want to return? Is that just for that meeting, or you wanted to return in person all the time, or?
Well, I think it's great to return in person, but we can certainly put it off at least a month. And actually, the WebEx meeting seems to work
Yeah,
for
I
everyone.
prefer the WebEx.
yeah, it
It
just,
saves me drive time. Yeah.
right, it saves me drive time too, if that's possible, but
Okay. All right, we'll tentatively plan on April 12th, 2 o'clock by WebEx. Subject to having at least one other board member say they can attend.
Mhm.
Okay,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question before we adjourn.
sure,
Well,
Sylvia.
too late. The trees that we lost during the storm that are on city property, would we replace them? Would they be replaced?
Well, yes and no. For example,
We
The-
have a big one over at Bridgepoint Boulevard.
yes,
It's huge, and it came off from the roots. I was wondering if it would be replaced.
Was that a pine, Sylvia?
I'm not sure what kind of tree it was. It's one of those large ones, probably.
It was not a pine. I don't know what it was, but it was not a pine. I saw it, so
I don't know why I thought that.
I know just enough to know it. Well, I don't think it was a pine.
Well, you would know, I'm sure.
Well, maybe I would. I mean, I'd know it when I saw it, but I'm operating from a fairly defective memory. So,
I mean, we can look at the location, Sylvia, and the difficulty with some of those medians is they're so shaded. And they typically, depending on the exact location, have had so many trees in those medians that it's almost better and we just have to be careful not to overplant again, I think.
Okay. Well, would it help if I took a picture and sent it to the group?
Yes,
Sure.
and send
Mhm.
send the address also.
If we can,
It's on the
you know,
boulevard.
right,
It's on the boulevard in the
right.
island place. Yeah, okay.
All right, that's
I'll
fine.
send a picture.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so we just include the best, local address there,
Okay.
whatever resident is near
Okay.
there. All right, that'd be helpful. Thank
All
you.
right. Will do. Thank you.
Is there anything else to come before this meeting?
Lee, I have a quick question. With all the
Yes.
minutes that were sent out, there was a copy of the latest ordinance suggestions sent to everyone. I guess at this point, we need to wait for further feedback before it gets submitted to review in any official capacity.
Yes, would like,
I guess
our
Chris needs,
attorney, Chris Gorman or mayor, to review that. We would like some official review before we submit it to council. Yes.
okay.
I'm pleased to review it, but I'll make a request, and I apologize for making this request. Can you send it to me again?
I'd be happy to.
That would be wonderful. Thank you, Linda.
This is Chris. I have reviewed it and I think it's fine as is. I think, we went over the changes, Lee, you and I, on the penalty section.
Yeah.
And I looked at the other changes and they look fine to me, but I look forward to Doug and his comments if he has any comments. But I think from a legal perspective, I think we're headed in the right direction.
Thanks, Chris. Linda, if you can send me a red line, I think you sent one before, and
Mhm.
then I'll see what we're changing. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the copy that she sent, right. And I'm sorry I was late. I was in the McGrail working group on natural gardens, but I'd rather be in this meeting.
Maybe more fun, right? Sometimes. Anyhow, thank you, Chris, for your review and comments, positive comments. And if there's nothing else before this group, how about a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Thank you to everybody for participating.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.